Welcome to the channel. Love sci-fi? Subscribe, like, and share the journey. The asteroid field of Kepler 442 had been a graveyard for 3 centuries. Ships avoided the debris-choked region, where twisted metal and frozen corpses drifted in eternal silence. The Galactic Council had long declared it a memorial zone, a reminder of humanity's final, desperate stand against the Vorthan Empire. Captain Rex Kane of the salvage vessel Scavenger's Dream didn't care about memorials. He cared about profit, and ancient battlefields often held valuable salvage overlooked by more respectful crews. His ship, a rust-bucket freighter with more patches than original hull, limped through the asteroid field while his scanner operator Tom Walsh called out debris signatures. "Standard wreckage patterns, Captain," Tom reported, his weathered face illuminated by the green glow of his instruments. "Looks like the histories got it right. Humanity took a beating here." Rex grunted, guiding the ship between 2 massive chunks of what had once been a Vorthan dreadnought. The battle had been legendary, humanity's last fleet making a stand against impossible odds. Every school child in the galaxy learned about it. Humanity had been wiped out. The Vorthans had mysteriously vanished shortly after, and the galaxy had moved on. "Wait!" Tom's voice sharpened. "Getting something weird on deep scan. Massive signature. Buried in the asteroid cluster at Grid 77 Alpha. Define massive. Bigger than anything that should be here. Captain? It's 12 kilometers long." Rex felt his blood chill. The largest ships in the current galaxy barely reach 3 kilometers. "Sensor error?" "Negative. It's there, and it's..." Tom's fingers danced over his console. "Captain, it's not showing up as debris. Metal composition is intact. Hull integrity. This can't be right." "Spit it out, Tom." 97% hull integrity, after 300 years. Rex stared at the view screen, where the asteroid field stretched endlessly. Somewhere in that graveyard lay something that shouldn't exist. Something that had survived when everything else had died. "Plot a course," he ordered. The journey took 6 hours, threading carefully through debris that could crush their small ship. When they finally reached the coordinates, Rex understood why the massive signature had been hidden for so long. The ship, for it was definitely a ship, had been encased in asteroids, deliberately camouflaged to look like just another chunk of dead rock. But as they drew closer, the camouflage became apparent. The asteroids were too uniform, too perfectly arranged. Someone had spent considerable effort hiding this vessel. "Tom, are you getting any power readings?" "Negative, Captain. She's dark as space itself." Rex activated the ship's external lights and gasped. Through gaps in the artificial asteroid shell, he could see sections of pristine hull plating. The metal was dark, almost black, but unmarked by 3 centuries of cosmic radiation and micrometeorite impacts. "What kind of ship hides for 300 years?" Tom whispered. Rex was studying the configuration visible through the gaps. The design was unlike anything in current galactic databases. Angular where modern ships were curved, aggressive where they were sleek. But there were familiar elements, things that matched ancient human ship designs from before the war. "Tom, send a focused scan. I want to know what's inside that shell." The deep scan took 20 minutes. When the results came back, Tom's face went pale. "Captain, there are thousands of signatures inside. Ships, equipment, and life support systems." "Life support? After 3 centuries? The readings are faint, but they're there. And Captain..." Tom's voice dropped to a whisper. "Some of those ship signatures match pre-war human designs. Designs that were supposed to be extinct." Rex stared at the massive hidden vessel. If Tom was right, they hadn't found a derelict. They'd found something that had been waiting. Watching, preparing. "Get us closer," he ordered. "And Tom, start recording everything. If we don't make it out of here, someone needs to know what we found." As the Scavenger's Dream approached the hidden Titan, neither man noticed the barely perceptible energy readings that began emanating from the massive ship's core. After 3 centuries of patient waiting, something ancient was finally beginning to wake up. Deep within the hidden Supercarrier retribution, systems that had slumbered for 3 centuries began their slow awakening. Emergency power flowed through conduits that had remained sealed since humanity's last stand. And in the ship's vast command center, a figure stirred in the captain's chair. Admiral Jack Stone opened his eyes for the first time in 300 years. The cryogenic suspension had preserved him perfectly, but his mind struggled to process the gentle hum of awakening systems around him. Memory flooded back. The final battle, the desperate plan, the promise to return when humanity needed them most. "Status report," he croaked, his voice rough from centuries of disuse. The ship's AI, designated Atlas, responded immediately. "Admiral Stone, suspension cycle complete. All primary systems nominal. Time elapsed, 297 years, 4 months, 16 days. Stone struggled to sit upright, his muscles protesting after their long sleep. Around him, other suspension pods were opening with soft hissing sounds. His crew, humanity's best and brightest, handpicked for this mission, were awakening to a galaxy they no longer recognized. Commander Lisa Gray, his second-in-command, emerged from her pod with the fluid grace that had made her legendary among fighter pilots. "Jack? Please tell me we weren't supposed to sleep this long." "We weren't," Stone replied grimly. "Atlas, why didn't you wake us at the scheduled interval?" "Galactic conditions did not meet mission parameters for awakening," the AI responded. "Humanity remained extinct. Vorthan Empire remained active until year 2387, at which point they mysteriously vanished. Awakening was postponed pending optimal strategic conditions." Stone's tactical officer, Major Dan Cross, was studying readouts at his station. "Admiral, I'm reading a small vessel in our perimeter. 2-man crew, appears to be salvagers." "They found us?" Gray asked, moving to her command station with practiced efficiency. "Negative," Atlas interjected. "The Retribution remains fully camouflaged. However, their deep scans have detected our presence. Recommendation: maintain stealth protocols until..." "Crew briefing is complete." Stone nodded, his mind already shifting into command mode. Around him, the vast bridge was coming alive as more crew members took their stations. The Retribution was more than just a ship. It was humanity's secret weapon, built in absolute secrecy during the war's darkest days. "Atlas, bring up current galactic status." Holographic displays materialized around the bridge, showing star charts and political boundaries that would have been unrecognizable to the galaxy they'd left behind. New empires had risen, old ones had fallen, and humanity's former territory was divided among a dozen species. "The current galactic order is maintained by the Hegemony Council," Atlas reported. "Primary members include the Altair Confederacy, the Rigel Union, and the Centauri Federation. All former human colonies have been absorbed or destroyed." Stone's jaw tightened. "What about human survivors?" "No organized human presence detected in 3 centuries of passive monitoring. Scattered individuals may exist in hiding, but humanity as a political entity remains extinct." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. They were the last organized group of humans in the galaxy. 12,000 souls aboard a ship that shouldn't exist, armed with technology that the current galaxy had never seen. Chief Engineer Maria Santos spoke from her station. "Admiral, all systems are green across the board. The new stealth technology held perfectly. We're invisible to everything except the most sophisticated deep scans." "And our mission payload?" Stone asked. Santos smiled grimly. "The Ghost Fleet is intact and ready for deployment. All 1,500 unmanned ships are operational and awaiting orders." Stone stood, feeling strength return to his legs. The Retribution wasn't just a supercarrier, it was the command ship for humanity's most secret project. During the war's final months, human scientists had developed perfect artificial intelligence for unmanned warships, ships that could think, adapt, and fight with the skill of veteran crews. "Atlas, what's the current military balance of power?" "The Hegemony Council maintains approximately 40,000 capital ships across all member fleets. Individual species maintain smaller defensive forces. Total estimated galactic military strength: 150,000 combat vessels." Commander Gray whistled softly. 40-1 odds, just like old times." Stone allowed himself a cold smile. The galaxy had grown comfortable in humanity's absence. They'd forgotten what desperation could create, what human ingenuity could accomplish when survival was at stake. Begin long-range reconnaissance, he ordered. I want to know everything about our new neighbors. After 3 centuries of hiding, it's time to remind the galaxy that humanity isn't extinct. We were just sleeping. The reconnaissance data painted a picture that filled Admiral Stone with cold fury. For 3 centuries, the galaxy had prospered on the bones of humanity's empire. Former human colonies had been strip-mined for resources, human cultural sites had been converted into tourist attractions, and human history had been rewritten to portray them as aggressive warmongers who had deserved extinction. "Show me Kepler Prime," Stone ordered. The holographic display shifted to show humanity's former capital world. Where once sprawling cities had housed billions of humans, now gleaming spires rose to house the Altair Confederacy's administrative center. Human architecture had been preserved only as historical curiosities. Commander Gray studied the data feeds with professional detachment, but Stone could see the tension in her shoulders. "They're using human infrastructure," she observed. "Our orbital platforms, our trade routes, even our defensive positions." "Why wouldn't they?" Major Cross said bitterly from his station. "We did all the hard work of mapping hyperspace lanes and building civilization. They just had to move in after we were gone." Chief Santos pulled up engineering reports. "Jack, look at this. They're still using modified versions of human technology. Our fusion reactors, our shield generators, even our waste recycling systems. They've barely advanced beyond what we achieved 300 years ago." Stone absorbed this information with growing satisfaction. The galaxy had grown fat and lazy on human innovation, never developing the desperate ingenuity that came from fighting for survival. They had no idea what was coming. "Atlas, begin Phase 1 of Operation Renaissance," Stone ordered. "Acknowledged, Admiral. Initiating Ghost Fleet activation sequence." Throughout the Retribution's massive hangar bays, ancient systems hummed to life. The Ghost Fleet, 1,500 unmanned warships designed with humanity's most advanced AI, began their startup procedures. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, designed to operate independently or as part of a coordinated swarm. The AI ships were beautiful in their deadliness, sleek predators built for speed and stealth. They incorporated lessons learned from humanity's desperate war against the Vorthans. No crew compartments meant more space for weapons and shields. No life support meant faster acceleration and tighter maneuvers. No fear meant they could execute tactics that would kill biological crews. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the salvage vessel," reported Communications Officer Luke Nash. "They're requesting permission to approach for close inspection." Stone considered this. The salvagers represented the first contact with the current galaxy, an opportunity to gather intelligence and test the waters. "Put them through." The view screen flickered to life, showing the weathered face of Captain Rex Kane. The man's eyes widened as he took in the Retribution's command bridge, technology far beyond anything in the current galaxy. "This is Captain Kane of the Scavengers." "Dream," Rex said carefully. I think we need to talk." "Indeed we do, Captain," Stone replied. "I am Admiral Jack Stone of the United Earth Navy vessel Retribution. I believe we have much to discuss about the current state of galactic affairs." Rex's face went pale. "United Earth Navy? But that's impossible. The UEN was destroyed 3 centuries ago." "Reports of our death," Stone said with a cold smile, "have been greatly exaggerated." Over the next hour, Stone learned more about the current galaxy than 3 centuries of passive monitoring had revealed. Rex and Tom painted a picture of a galaxy ruled by bureaucratic committees where military conflicts were limited to police actions, and major wars were considered relics of a barbaric past. "The Hegemony Council maintains peace through economic pressure and political maneuvering," Rex explained. "Nobody fights major wars anymore. Too expensive, too disruptive to trade." Stone exchanged glances with Gray. A galaxy that had forgotten how to fight was a galaxy ripe for conquest. "Captain Kane," Stone said finally, "I'm going to make you an offer. You've discovered something that will change the galaxy forever. You can either be part of that change, or you can be crushed by it." Rex stared at him for a long moment. "What kind of change?" "The kind that reminds the galaxy what happens when you build your civilization on humanity's grave," Stone replied. "We're not here for revenge, Captain. We're here for renaissance. Humanity is about to reclaim its birthright." Behind Stone, The first Ghost Fleet squadrons were launching from the Retribution's hangar bays, invisible predators spreading out through the asteroid field like whispers of humanity's return. The Hegemony Council convened an emergency session. Aboard the massive space station Concordia, humanity's former diplomatic headquarters that now served as the galaxy's seat of government. The irony was not lost on Admiral Stone as he monitored their proceedings from the Retribution's stealth position. President Vorak of the Altair Confederacy called the session to order with his species' characteristic pomposity. The tall, crystalline being's faceted features reflected the chamber's lights as he addressed the assembled delegates. Fellow counselors, we have received disturbing reports from the Kepler 442 Memorial Zone, Vorak announced. It appears that salvagers have discovered something unexpected. Stone watched with satisfaction as Captain Kane, now sporting a new uniform and a substantial credit balance, delivered his carefully rehearsed report to the council. Rex had agreed to serve as Stone's unofficial ambassador, a role that came with significant benefits and even greater risks. The ship is massive beyond anything in our current databases, Rex reported. 12 kilometers in length, with technology that makes our best vessels look primitive. They claim to be survivors of the old United Earth Navy. Murmurs rippled through the council chamber. Councillor Thane of the Rigel Union, a species that resembled armored insects, clicked his mandibles in disbelief. Impossible. Humanity was completely exterminated. The Vorthons were quite thorough. Yet here we are, Stone murmured to himself, then activated the transmission link Rex carried. It was time for first contact. The council chamber's main display flickered, then resolved into a crystal-clear image of the Retribution's bridge. Stone stood at the center, flanked by his senior officers, presenting the image of humanity's return with calculated precision. Honored counselors, Stone began, his voice carrying across the chamber with quiet authority. I am Admiral Jack Stone, commanding officer of the UN Retribution. On behalf of humanity, I bring greetings to the galactic community. The silence that followed was profound. Finally, President Vorak found his voice. This is unprecedented. Humanity has been extinct for 3 centuries. Extinct? Stone's smile was cold as winter. No, President Vorak. We were merely strategic. While you carved up our former territory, we waited and watched. We learned about your new order, your peaceful galaxy built on our foundations. Councillor Thane leaned forward aggressively. What do you want, human? Reparations? Territory? You're hardly in a position to make demands. Stone's expression didn't change, but Commander Gray stepped forward. Perhaps the counselor would like to reconsider that assessment. The display split, showing tactical feeds from the Ghost Fleet. Invisible to conventional sensors, the unmanned ships had positioned themselves around every major hegemony world. The feeds showed dozens of capital ships, space stations, and orbital facilities, all within striking distance of weapons the current galaxy couldn't detect. We have positioned assets throughout your territory, Stone announced calmly. Not as a threat, but as a demonstration. Your military forces are impressive, but they're designed for police actions and border disputes. Ours were forged in the crucible of total war. The council chamber erupted in panicked chatter. Defense Minister Kale of the Centauri Federation, a being whose species resembled bipedal sharks, slammed his fist on the table. This is an act of war. You've violated our sovereign space. Have we? Stone asked mildly. We've simply demonstrated our capability to do so undetected. Your own sensors failed to notice our presence until we chose to reveal ourselves. That should tell you something about the current state of galactic defense. President Vorak struggled to maintain diplomatic composure. Admiral Stone, what are your intentions? What does humanity want? Stone was quiet for a long moment, letting the tension build. What we want, President Vorak, is quite simple. We want our place in the galactic community restored. We want reparations for 3 centuries of exploitation of human-built infrastructure. And we want the galaxy to remember that humanity earned its position through strength, not charity. And if we refuse, Councillor Thane demanded. Stone's smile turned predatory. Then you'll discover why the Vorthans disappeared so mysteriously, after their victory over humanity. They made the mistake of thinking they had eliminated us completely. You won't have the opportunity to make the same error. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Stone turned to his crew with satisfaction. Phase 2, Commander Gray. Let's show them what ghost ships can do. In the depths of space, 1,500 invisible predators began to move. The attack on Rigel Station was surgical in its precision and terrifying in its implications. The massive trading hub, built around the skeleton of a former human starbase, housed over 50 million beings from across the galaxy. It was also the Rigel Union's primary military depot, defended by 200 warships of various classes. Stone watched the operation unfold from the Retribution's command center, his expression impassive as his ghost fleet demonstrated 3 centuries of human tactical evolution. The station's defenders never knew what hit them. Ghost leader to Retribution, came the synthesized voice of the lead AI ship. Perimeter secured, all defensive platforms neutralized, station shields disabled, commencing Phase 2. The beauty of the Ghost Fleet's attack lay not in its destructiveness, but in its restraint. Each AI ship possessed the processing power of 1,000 human tacticians, allowing them to disable rather than destroy. Weapons arrays were surgically removed from defending ships, command centers were breached and occupied. Life support remained intact. Within 40 minutes, Rigel Station was under complete human control, and not a single being had died. Admiral, Commander Gray reported, studying the tactical displays. The station's defense fleet has surrendered. They're requesting terms. Stone activated communications to address the station's population. His image appeared on every screen throughout the massive structure, carrying the authority of humanity's return. Citizens of Rigel Station, he began. I am Admiral Stone of the United Earth Navy. Your station is now under human protection. You are not prisoners, nor are you hostages. You are witnesses. In the station's command center, Admiral Corks of the Rigel Defense Fleet stared at the screens showing human ships materializing around his station. The vessels were smaller than his dreadnoughts, but moved with an elegance that spoke of superior technology. How? Corks demanded when Stone accepted his communication request. Our sensors detected nothing until your ships were already among us. 300 years of development, Admiral, Stone replied. While your people grew comfortable with peace, we perfected the art of war. Your ships are magnificent for parades and police actions. Ours are designed to kill. Corks's compound eyes studied the human with professional interest. What are your terms? Simple, Stone said. You will carry a message to the Hegemony Council. Tell them that humanity offers them a choice: integration or subjugation. They can accept our return as equals and negotiate the restoration of human sovereignty, or they can face the consequences of 3 centuries of theft. And if they choose to fight? Stone's smile was winter incarnate. Admiral, your entire defense fleet was neutralized in under an hour by ships you couldn't see coming. Your station, which houses 50 million beings, was captured without a single casualty. Do you really think the Hegemony Council wants to discover what we can do when we're trying to cause damage? The message reached the Council within hours, carried by every news network and emergency channel in the galaxy. The footage of Rigel Station's bloodless capture dominated galactic media, showing human ships appearing and disappearing like phantoms, moving with impossible precision through defensive formations. President Vorak convened another emergency session, this time with military advisors from every member species. The chamber buzzed with nervous energy as defense experts tried to analyze the human demonstration. Their ships appear to use some form of advanced cloaking technology, Defense Minister Kale reported. Our best estimates suggest they achieved complete invisibility to all known sensor types. How is that possible? Demanded Councillor Thane. Our sensor technology is based on human foundations. They can't have advanced that far beyond us. General Vale of the Centauri Defense Corps, a grizzled veteran of the last major conflict, spoke with quiet authority. With respect, Counselor, they had 3 centuries of motivated development. We've been maintaining the status quo. They've been preparing for war. The holographic display showed tactical analyses of the Ghost Fleet's performance. The AI ships moved with coordination that suggested a hive mind, executing maneuvers that would be impossible for biological crews to perform. The question, President, Vorak said finally, is whether we negotiate or fight. Fight with what? General Vale asked bluntly. They demonstrated complete tactical superiority without firing a single lethal shot. If they wanted to destroy Rigel Station, it would be debris by now. Stone, monitoring their communications, allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The galaxy was learning what the Vorthons had discovered too late. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology or tactics, it was the absolute refusal to accept defeat. The revelation came from an unexpected source. As the Hegemony Council debated their response to humanity's ultimatum, archaeologist Dr. Ellen Wright made a discovery that would shake the galaxy's understanding of its own history. Dr. Wright had spent decades studying Vorthan ruins on their former homeworld of Vorthak Prime. The mysterious empire that had seemingly conquered humanity only to vanish without explanation had left behind technological marvels and cryptic records. But Wright's latest excavation had uncovered something unprecedented. A Vorthan military archive, sealed for 3 centuries. Admiral Stone, Wright's transmission reached the Retribution through encrypted channels that bypassed hegemony monitoring. You need to see this. The truth about the Vorthons. About what really happened after the Battle of Kepler 442. Stone materialized as a hologram in Wright's makeshift laboratory, deep in the ruins of what had once been the Vorthan Empire's greatest stronghold. The archaeologist, a woman in her 50s with prematurely gray hair, gestured to the ancient data crystals she'd arranged on her work table. The Vorthons didn't disappear mysteriously, Admiral, Wright began without preamble. They were exterminated by humans. Stone's expression didn't change, but around him, his senior staff exchanged glances. This was information that could change everything. Wright activated the ancient Vorthan holographic projector, and the laboratory filled with images from 3 centuries past. Vorthan soldiers in their distinctive crystalline armor, their spider-like forms moving through what appeared to be a massive space battle. This is from their military archives, Wright explained. 3 months after Kepler 442, long after they thought humanity was extinct, Vorthan deep space monitoring stations detected massive gravitational anomalies in the outer rim. Ships were disappearing. Entire fleets would respond to distress calls and never return. The holographic display shifted to show Vorthan strategic maps dotted with red markers, lost ships, missing convoys, silent systems. They called it the Wraith War, Wright continued. An enemy that struck without warning, left no survivors, and vanished back into the void. The Vorthons deployed everything. They had their greatest fleets, their most advanced technology, their most experienced commanders. Stone watched with growing fascination as the Vorthan records showed their empire's desperate response to an enemy they couldn't see, couldn't catch, couldn't comprehend. It took them 2 years to realize the truth, Wright said softly. The Wraiths weren't aliens or unknown entities. They were human ships, operated by artificial intelligence, striking from hidden bases throughout the galaxy. The recordings show Vorthan High Command's final transmission before their capital fell. The hologram shifted to show a Vorthan council chamber not unlike the current Hegemony Council. But these beings were different, harder, more military in bearing. These were conquerors facing their own extinction. The lead Vorthan, his crystalline carapace scarred from battle, spoke in his species' harmonic language. Wright provided translation. The humans were never defeated, the Vorthan commander said. Kepler 442 was not their last stand. It was their diversion. While we celebrated victory, they seeded the galaxy with automated warships beyond our ability to detect or destroy. We thought we had conquered humanity. Instead, we awakened something that makes our empire look like children playing with toys. Stone felt a cold satisfaction as the truth became clear. The Retribution hadn't been the only human ace in the hole. Somewhere in the galaxy, other ghost fleets had been operating, systematically eliminating the Vorthan Empire while the rest of the galaxy remained oblivious. The final entry, Wright said, was a warning transmitted to all Vorthan survivors before their homeworld went silent. They detected massive human ships emerging from deep space, vessels that made their own dreadnoughts look primitive. The Vorthans realized they had been fighting humanity's automated scouts. The real fleet was just arriving. The hologram flickered and died, leaving the laboratory in silence. Dr. Wright, Stone said finally, are there any other human survivors mentioned in these records? Multiple references to the Sleepers, Wright replied. Vorthan intelligence believed humans had established multiple hidden facilities throughout the galaxy, each with cryogenic preservation capabilities and automated defenses. The retribution may not be alone. Stone allowed himself a smile. If right was right, humanity's return would be even more dramatic than he'd planned. The galaxy was about to learn that the retribution wasn't humanity's last ship. It was just the first to wake up. 6 months after humanity's return, the galaxy was unrecognizable. The Hegemony Council had dissolved in favor of the reformed Galactic Federation, with humanity holding a permanent seat on the Security Council. Former human colonies were being returned to human administration, and the Galaxy Memorial Fund had paid out trillions in reparations for 3 centuries of exploitation. Admiral Stone stood on the observation deck of New Geneva Station, humanity's rebuilt diplomatic headquarters. Through the massive viewports, he could see the construction of humanity's new fleet. Ships that combined 3 centuries of hidden development with the galaxy's accumulated knowledge. Remarkable how quickly they adapted, Commander Gray observed, joining him at the viewport. 6 months ago, they were calling us extinct warmongers. Now they're begging for technology exchanges and defensive pacts. Stone nodded, watching a new human dreadnought take shape in the construction bays. The UES Renaissance would be the first ship of humanity's new golden age. A vessel that symbolized the marriage of human innovation with galactic cooperation. Fear is a powerful motivator, Stone replied. But so is opportunity. They've realized that working with us is more profitable than working against us. The door chimed, and Captain Rex Kane entered. The former salvager now wore the uniform of the Reformed Federation's diplomatic corps, his weathered face bearing the satisfied expression of a man who had bet everything on the right horse. Admiral, we've received confirmation from the Outer Rim, Rex reported. The archaeologists have found them. 3 more sleeper facilities, just like Dr. Wright predicted. The UES Defiance, the UES Vengeance, and the UES Triumph. Stone felt a surge of satisfaction. 48,000 more humans, emerging from cryogenic sleep to find a galaxy transformed. Each sleeper ship represented another aspect of humanity's contingency plans. The Defiance carried terraforming technology that could remake dead worlds. The Vengeance housed advanced manufacturing capabilities that made current galactic industry look primitive. And the Triumph contained humanity's greatest scientific minds. What's their status? Gray asked. All crews successfully awakened and briefed on current conditions, Rex replied. Admiral Kane of the Defiance sends her compliments and requests permission to begin reclamation operations on former human worlds. Admiral Cross of the Vengeance is already coordinating with industrial representatives for technology transfers. And Admiral Wright of the Triumph. Rex paused with a grin. She's demanding to know why we woke up first. Stone chuckled. Admiral Sarah Wright, no relation to the archaeologist, had been humanity's most brilliant strategic mind before the war. If she was awake, the galaxy was about to experience another revolution. Atlas, what's the status of Ghost Fleet integration with Federation forces? The AI's voice filled the observation deck. Integration proceeding smoothly, Admiral. Ghost. Fleet units are providing advanced training to Federation military forces. Efficiency improvements average 47% across all participating fleets. Through the viewport, Stone could see the evidence of that integration. Human ghost ships flew in formation with Altair heavy cruisers and Rigel fast attack craft, their movements synchronized in ways that would have been impossible before human tactical algorithms were shared. The irony, Gray observed, is that they're becoming more human-like in their approach to warfare, while we're becoming more diplomatic in our approach to politics. Stone nodded. The galaxy had needed both, humanity's warrior spirit and the other species' diplomatic experience. The combination was creating something unprecedented, a galactic civilization that could both defend itself and govern itself effectively. Admiral, Rex said, there's one more thing. Dr. Wright's latest excavations have uncovered something interesting. Evidence that the Vorthans weren't the only ancient empire to face human retaliation. There are references to other species, other wars, other victories. Humanity may have been playing the long game for longer than we realized. Stone considered this. If true, it suggested that humanity's talent for survival and eventual triumph was older and deeper than anyone had imagined. Perhaps they hadn't just survived extinction. Perhaps they had perfected it as an art form. Then we'd better make sure this renaissance lasts, Stone said finally. The galaxy gave us a second chance. Let's make sure they don't regret it. Outside, The stars shone on a galaxy transformed, a galaxy where humanity had returned not as conquerors, but as the teachers of a deadly lesson. Never count the human race extinct until you've found all the bodies, and sometimes not even then.